So this morning, as you know, I've been in, Joshua and Judges and just talking about Joshua, Caleb, Othniel, and it's just these stories that I believe God is just wanting to teach us some things about trusting Him, about being a people that's fully after Him. And strong and courageous and trusting that no matter what, He has been with us, He will be with us, and no matter what stands in front of us will not compare to who He is. And I just, in studying this and reading this, going on into Judges, and I'm going to start in Judges 3, and just talk kind of about where the people got to, which is very interesting. And I try to myself relate all these things to us where we are and to, how we can be also. And the people, through all that God did and all that He accomplished, Himself, really, and He used them, but so many things that just are miraculously happening. And they get into this promised land, and they come to this place where now they can settle down, and then they settle. I mean, really, that's the thing, I think. When you settle down, you can just get relaxed. Just kind of want things to be the way that you want it to be, or what have you. And so we have in Judges where God starts to give them a person that He's strengthened, that He's, brought to this place to kind of help them. And so in Judges 3:7, and this we read before, but I want to just start here. Judges 3:7, so the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And here's what they forgot the Lord their God. They forgot the Lord their God and served the Baals and the Ashtoreths. They served the gods and the goddesses of the people that were there with them, because they didn't drive them out. And so they come to these places where they are then being taken over and attacked and being, put in this place where it's like, God, I thought I was supposed to be in the promised land. I thought I was supposed to be in this place where everything is, it's milk and honey, it's flowing, out of this, don't we all want to be in that place, right? And now you're there. Now you're in this place that God has brought you to, and then it's just not what you think it is, or what you thought it was going to be. But like we talked about, that God did everything that He said He was going to do. He brought them to the promised land. He saved them. He gave them everything that they needed, and then they're in this place where this is it. We made it. But they stopped trusting Him. And it says they forgot the Lord their God. So God gave them Othniel. We talked about him. I'm not going to talk through all of these, but it says that the land had rest for 40 years because he was judging the people, and God raised him up to save the people of Israel. And then after he died, 40 years, there was peace, it was good. But then he died. And then guess what? They stopped trusting God. They stopped looking to Him. They stopped understanding that He is the reason that they were in the promised land. He's the reason that promised land would be able to stay the promised land and be everything that it was supposed to be. And then there was Ehud. And then after that, in verse 31, Judges 3:31, I just want to read through this one because it just sounds so cool. After him was Shamgar, the son of Anath, who killed 600 men of the Philistines with an ox goad. Killed 600 Philistines with a stick with a pointy thing at the end of it. Like, no, I don't need a sword. Just give me a stick with like a thorn on it, and I will kill those people. You know? Like, I want to be that guy. And it says, and he also delivered Israel. And there was Deborah who sat under a tree and judged the people of Israel. And that's an amazing story, and I'm not going to go through it right now also. The list just keeps going on and on with those that God brought up and strengthened to help Israel come back to this. They were taken over. Each time after that person that was brought up as a judge would die, and then they would just fall back into that place and be taken over by the surrounding peoples, by the people that weren't following God. And I just... They stopped trusting Him. They stopped looking to Him. Each time one of these judges would die, and I like questions to kind of like bring out a perspective, and my question is were they trusting God, or were they trusting a person that God raised up, a person that God brought to be a judge? It doesn't tell me that here in this story, but I see that even in our own lives. Sometimes we'd rather have a judge than a helper, and that's where I'm going to go, so I'm not going to try to get ahead of myself, but we'd rather have a judge than a helper, because a helper means that it's someone that's going to help us to understand, realize, the helper, the Holy Spirit that Jesus has given to us, that He's going to help us to be in the place where we can walk this out ourselves. But isn't it like us that we so many times would rather have somebody just tell us what to do, tell us if we're right, tell us if we're wrong, and save us? And that's where the people of Israel were. And every time they would fall back. It would fall back into a place of worshiping other things, not trusting God, not looking to Him, and then being taken over by the enemy. And of course, God had a plan, He has a plan, and of course, His plan will work out. But I feel like He's asking me to talk about this, to try to give us this understanding, give me this understanding, actually. I need this too, because sometimes I just want somebody to save me, you know? I want somebody to tell me what to do or how to do it. Somebody to say, Josh, this is how you lead. This is how you can share with the people. This is, that's me. But for yourself, this is how you raise your family. Do it this way. This is how you speak to that person at work, or you deal with this situation or this relation. So many times. I know you don't have to raise your hand. We all have these things. But listen, we come into the New Testament. In John 14, see, what God has done for us is not to send a man or a woman to help us like we see here in these that judged Israel, but He sent His Spirit and His peace. It's a little different situation, and that's where I think we get caught up because it puts a little bit more responsibility on us, not that we're the ones doing it, that we're the ones that are saving the situation, but that we have to make the decision and come into this place with him in order for him to do what he wants to do in our lives, instead of just being told what to do. So we have here in John, just before Jesus was going to be arrested and beaten and placed on the cross for all of us, and he's talking here with his disciples, and he says, here, I want to share it. Now, think about that. In this moment, it's just before. He knows what's going to happen. They really didn't understand it at the time, but he understands. He knows what exactly is going to happen and what he wanted to talk to them about, what he wanted to share with them. Imagine if you yourself knew that there was going to be something incredibly difficult, incredibly painful that you were going to go through. And you just want to share with somebody some insights, some things. You think you would be like, you know what I want to share with you? I want to share with you peace. I want to help you to understand. I don't think I hope I would, but I don't know that that's would be what I focused on, because I feel like I would be in this place of like, here's how you fight. Here's how you stand up and fight. But what Jesus is saying here, in verse 25, it says, these things I have spoken to you while being present. I've shared with you a number of things, and I've talked to you about them while I am present with you. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all the things that I have said to you. Jesus, he had just mentioned one time before, just up in verse 16, the Helper, and they're probably like, okay, we're going to Helper come, and I don't really know what this means. I don't really understand it. But now he gives a little bit more to it, and he says, listen, I spoke to you these things while I'm here, but I want you to know that there's going to be a Helper come, the Holy Spirit, who is going to come and to be with you and to be a helper, one that can actually bring to remembrance all the things that I've spoken to you. And the things that I've spoken to you, he will be able to bring forth, and there's going to be a continue. The things that are not going to stop, but they're going to continue. I'm not going to be here with you very much longer, but guess what? I am going to be here with you. He's like trying to help them to understand that this is not the end. You know, it's like we had a good run, and now I'm not going to be with you anymore. No, he's saying, I've been with you, but then also I'm going to be with you, my Spirit, who I am, and he's me, I'm him. We're together in this. It's really hard to wrap our minds around all that stuff, but listen, God's going to send Holy Spirit to be with you. Father will send him in my name. He's going to come in the authority of my name. And he will teach you. He'll continue to teach you. But then also that he'll bring to remembrance all the things which I've spoken to you. And let me tell you, I can't remember who I was talking to, but just talking about in situations and talking with people and how sometimes we feel like it's like, I need to get all this together. I need to know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to. Now, of course, there's preparation needed. But at the same time, it's not about the preparation or my study that I could do or your study that you could do. if you have a difficult conversation with somebody or a difficult situation that you're entering in. But what it is that the Spirit can be with you. And how different it is whenever we ask Him to help us in that situation, because we need it, and allow Him to speak through us. And I've been in many situations where I feel like I'm over my head, where I feel like, man, I'm not sure I have all that I need to have in order to step into this situation or to step into this conversation. But you know what? I do. But it's just not me that has it. And in that situation that you are going to go in, or you have gone in, you've seen, then we say, God, help me in this. God, help me to remember all the things. Holy Spirit, just give me remembrance of the things that I've been taught, that I know, that I've read, that I understand, and I know it's there. And you know what? I think, at least for me, that's the problem. You know, can I give you just a little information about myself and Pastor Tori, and I've told her many times, like, I just don't understand how you can pull things out of your brain so quickly, and it's just like it's there. It's like right there on the top. How does everything on the top, you know? Something's got to be down here. You got to find it. No, it's always on the top. For myself, it's so many times it feels like, it's like, yeah, I know that. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know, you know, even as simple things. It's like, do you remember that time, you know, when this happened? You know, it was a number of years ago. I'm like, you know what? I remember it. Probably take me a couple of weeks to bring it up to the surface and remember exactly what happened, but I'm sure that I remember it. She's like, yeah, you were wearing a red shirt and these shoes and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool. It'll take me a little bit, so just hang with me, you know? But the thing is that the point of that is that I could get in this place of saying, I don't know. I can't remember any of these things. And I've been in that place, and we get, you don't have to say yes or raise your hand, but it's where we get, right? I don't know. But that's what's amazing about what Jesus is saying here. He's saying, listen, it's not all just on how you can remember these things or the words that you can speak, how powerful or how eloquent you can speak, all that you can do. He says, I've asked you to do something, and if you just step in there and allow me, you allow the Holy Spirit to bring those things to remembrance and to bring that power. It's not yours, but it's mine. Then when you step into that, everything is going to be exactly as it should, and the things that are supposed to be said are going to be the exact things that are said, because I'm there, and I'm with you. And in John 14:27, he continues. So he's saying, listen. I'm going to ask the Father to send Holy Spirit to come and to be with you, to be a helper to you. And you're going to need that. Even for what I'm going to continue on saying right now, he says you're going to need that help, because it's not going to be easy. But I'm not sending you an earthly man or an earthly woman to come and be a judge or just make decisions for you, or to do all this and say, look, it's on you or it's on that person. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this the Holy Spirit come and be with you. And he says in verse 27, peace I leave you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard me say to you, I am going away and coming back to you. If you've loved me, you would rejoice because I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. It's so amazing to think, again, as I said before, that he is now, he's getting ready to go to the cross for us and really for our peace, for our salvation, and he's getting ready to step into that moment, and this is what he says to us. He says, peace I leave with you. Not struggle, not torment, not fear, peace I leave with you. And he definitely makes this statement so that we can understand this next statement where he says, my peace I give to you. My peace. He's saying there's peace. And in that time, and where they were, that peace was a word, shalom, a word that they just used as we say, goodbye, see you later, so long. And they say, shalom, which means peace be with you, peace. It was something that they were accustomed to, somebody saying. And so when he says, peace I give to you, or shalom, they could say, oh, okay. He's saying, yeah, we'll have peace. But he's saying, no. You got to understand this. I'm not saying this like we all say when we're getting ready to say goodbye. I'm saying this in such a different way because this is not a peace that the world can give. This isn't a peace that you can attain yourself or somebody else can give you. Saying, my peace, a peace that comes from me and who I am, the peace that I have, and I give to you. It's not as the world gives. The world can give some semblance of peace, but it's just whenever there's absence of turmoil or conflict. That's what the world can give. But he says, my peace I give to you. It's not something that you can have only in certain situations or when there's not conflict or not things going on in your life, but it's a peace that you can have all the time, in every situation. So that's why we need to understand this different. It's a totally separate thing. There's a peace that the world can give, a peace that we can create, a peace that somebody can give to you, and then there's the peace that he gives. He says, let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Don't let your heart be troubled. But you don't understand. There's a lot going on in my life and a lot of struggle, a lot of things and big things that I might be facing. You don't understand. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now and can get us to this place of what's going to happen? How is this going to work out? Are we going to... Yeah, okay. All this stuff, these external circumstances, and We can be like, but you don't understand. But he says, I do understand. I actually do, because he's saying, I'm getting ready to take all that stuff. I'm going to take all that fear, all that sin, all that anger, all that mess, all the stuff. Because I have authority over that, and I'm going to take that to the cross so that it doesn't have authority over you. And if I can say just a little caveat to what's going on, and I was talking to Tori about it last night, and, I don't like just focusing on being like deep dive into like all this is happening and how is it going to happen, what's it going to happen, and the stuff that's going on in the world with Israel and Iran and the United States now and all these things and it can become this thing that is turmoil in us. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. I want to be able to understand, but I don't want to focus on it. And I would challenge you to not let that be your focus. Because no matter what happens, God is true. He's faithful. He has a plan. And really, if you want to get in my brain, if you really want to get in my brain, my question is, if they said it's going to happen before the end times, are we trying to get it not to happen? Are we trying to push off the end times? I don't know. That's just in my brain. You guys are like, not that I'm praying for this to happen, but what I'm saying is, God, just let me find where you are in this moment and not to get all off on these different wild chases of the things that are going on. Just allow me to be where you are, to trust you. And whether this is, something big in the end times. I'm not an end times preacher, so, maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe it's the end times and I'm preaching, But God, don't allow me, don't allow us, that's what I want to ask. Don't allow us to get in this place where all the stuff is taking place of you. Because we tend to want peace. We tend to want comfort. We tend to want the lack of struggle or turmoil or conflict. But many times we miss the fact that God hasn't said that there won't be struggle or conflict, but what he said is you don't have to be affected by it. He said you don't have to live in that place in torment and fear. You can walk through it. And it may feel a little hard, but you can walk through it and have my peace. You can have my strength. You can have my wisdom. You can have all that I am and all that I give. I've given it to you, and you can have all that and walk through in peace. and clarity. Not with fear, not with torment. And whatever happens, and so I just share this, I feel like for myself, because again, I've been in the place, okay, I want to understand, I want to know, but I don't want, to build a bunker in my backyard and go crawl in a hole. I want to be aware of the surroundings, but not to hide from it, but to be an agent of change in it. That's what he's asking us to do. He's saying, listen, I'm going to have to go. And I'm going to take all this stuff with me, the bad stuff, the sin, the shame. I'm going to take that to the cross, but then I'm going to send the Spirit to be with you. And the reason that I'm sending, why I want him to be with you, is so that you can walk through this life that I've given you, so that you can walk with strength, that you can walk with integrity, so that you can walk with peace, so that you can walk with wisdom and authority, that you can walk, not hide, that you can stand up and not cower, that you can speak and not be shut up out of fear or whatever. This is what he's given to us. Not as what the world gives, but as he gives. This word, as it's used right here, that Jesus is using, this word peace, it means the tranquil state of a soul assured of its salvation through Christ. I love it. And if I could use my grandma as an example, Grandma Esther, and she's amazing, I wish I was able to, but at 95 years old, you're still 95, right? Yeah. Those birthdays just keep coming, At 95 years old and living with the peace and joy of God, to living in a place of not afraid. And I'll tell you, over the past number of years, I've seen my grandma be stronger and have more peace than many people that I've seen. Many people that I've even known and know say, God's got me. Right? Lord willing, the creek don't rise. She's like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna step out. I'm not gonna hide in fear. I'm not going to stay in my house. I'm not going to, just be back here because I'm afraid that, I'm going to get sick or I'm going to do this or that. And she's like, I had a good life and God's still with me. I'm going to continue to have a good life. I'm going to continue in that. Man. I want to live. I feel like she's even way more in that place than I am. I want to be like her. It's like, whatever situation I'm going through or whatever the world's going through, to be like, you got it. God, you've got it. You're the one. The turmoil that I may have in my soul really is because I feel like I can't do it. The fear is because what's going to happen to me and how am I going to make it through this? But all of a sudden you can understand that peace that has been given to us is his peace. It's not on our merit that we have this peace. It's on his merit and who he is because of what he's done. So I just feel like that's just what God's sharing with me, sharing with us, is that we take this place not of trusting in him whenever things are going good, because that's the peace that the world can give. But trusting and having peace every single day. He said, you would rejoice. Listen, he says, when I say I'm going away, you should rejoice. You should have joy. Not just peace, but joy in your heart. Be happy. Too many Christians aren't happy. And you see it on their face, You can see, it's like, man. Like somebody's pinching them all the time. Or, it's like sucking on lemons, whatever, I don't know. But it's like, that's not how God has created us to live. God has created us to live with peace and joy, rejoicing, knowing, right, that we have this assurance of salvation that brings peace and joy no matter where we are. I could be having the best time with my family and have that peace and joy. I can be walking through a difficult situation and have that peace and that joy, because it doesn't hinge on what's happening. It hinges on him and who he is. Will you stand with me?